Yeah, we're going. We're phasing. Hi, Chihuahua. Thank you for coming out on this. What is it, Thursday? Just had lunch. If you're kind of paparazziing it and stuff, you might have saw who I had lunch with. But anyways, I'm out here in a secret area where I'm going to give you kind of a cool look at where I'm at. So those of you who are kind of local, you may see it and say, whoa, where is he at? That's where I'm at. See the Plaza Hotel? I should have tagged my buddy there, but I'm at a mission. All right. So anyways, thanks for coming on. We're going to have someone, great guest. I announced that this guy was basically, I first played against him, I want to say 94, maybe 95. And it was a backyard. It was at Twin Creeks. I don't remember. I was talking with him. I don't know if it was a Sunday, but it was just thrown together, played with a group of guys from Hollister. But anyways, I mean, this dude's a phenomenal athlete. And the things he was able to do. To give you a hint, he batted left-handed. But we played against him. He batted lead off. We were young. I'd say I was we were both probably in mid-20s because we're similar in age. And fresh out of baseball. But he had a little swag, but there's nothing wrong with the swag. But, he got a hit, and he kind of just peppered it. And great athlete. He beat the ball out. Next time he got a base hit. Then another time he got another soft hit and stuff. And then I started telling the outfielders, because I'm out there to beat whoever we're there to win. So I go, hey man, come in. And then what does the guy do? Boom. Freaking burns the gap. I think he hit a triple, 2 guys on. I thought he didn't have any pop. So that also completed the game. As well as I want to say in that game, he probably hit one over the fence. Was that remarkable? Aluminum. Yeah, well, anyways, this guy is a 5-tool player, I would say. Great, phenomenal defensive player on the, played outfield, pitched, but very smart with the game, understands the game, knows the game. And I think that also made him that much better, him trying to beat you. The one thing, he's even more of a phenomenal athlete. And for him to see the kind of power that he has, is that my guest today was not born with the lower part of his right arm. So basically from here down, that was the part that he was born without. And that's what's made a lot of things that he's done playing softball in his day and the level he played. He had a strap. He was able to throw people out, ran like a deer, and he was able to hit the ball as far as anybody out there. So anyways, my guest today, thank you for coming out, is Sean Bigley. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
just had an awesome lunch. It's a beautiful day out here.
Yeah.
We're going to chop it up a little bit.
Yeah, so, and those of you, if you don't know Sean Bigley, try to friend him on Facebook, because another great thing about Sean is he does these workouts. How often do you do your workouts on there?
2 or 3 times a week. I'm doing strength and conditioning and also some body weight stuff for people on quarantine to still get some fitness in.
So if you're getting rid of that, some of you gotta get rid of that COVID-20, COVID-10. I actually started following and trying to do some of the things this guy does, and it's so amazing the things he does and what kind of shape he is. But anyways, Sean Bigley, look for him on Facebook and follow him, and he does a lot of workouts. I'm trying to get him to do a Facebook page and make a living at it, because he does very good. He explains himself very well, and he gives you a little background. So, if you were doing one of those blue books, yellow books, what the heck are they called? Cliff Notes. It's like a Cliff Notes workout. It's really easy to understand, whether you're the really extreme workout or just someone trying to get yourself exposed. So anyways, so you, baseball, you played at Chabot, but you pitched, right?
I was a pitcher only at Chabot, which was kind of weird for me, because up until that point, Senior Babe Ruth or American Legion or Little League, or high school, if I wasn't pitching, I was playing the outfield or first base. Mm-hmm. When I got to Chabot, I was a pitcher only. And I say that story because I think that's why I fell in love with softball when I was introduced to it. So I was able to hit again. I was able to run the bases again, dive for balls in the outfield, throw guys out. Mm-hmm. And those were all things that I missed. Obviously, I loved playing baseball at Chabot. I was blessed with some phenomenal coaching. But yeah, running around and being an athlete and playing the whole game, I missed. So softball gave me that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, just a little sign with baseball. Sean's also, he's helped a lot of young athletes, coaching clinics and etc. And something I didn't know, I can't remember his name, but this year's first round draft choice,
First pick overall, Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, he worked out with them. How old was he when you were working with him in Petaluma?
In high school, yeah, freshman.
Oh, freshman?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
he played for Casa Grande High School, and a couple of weeks ago, the Major League Baseball draft took place, and he was the first pick overall by the Detroit Tigers. Great kid. I had very little to do with his success, but he was a hard worker, and I was blessed to be able to cross paths with him for sure.
Well,
pretty cool story to say you coached somebody that was a first pick, though.
Well, I think somebody on that path, every coach, you can either be continuing to that bridge or you can break the bridge and they fall. So obviously you kept on that path.
Absolutely.
The bridge stays stable and he's there where you're at. And I'm sure, he remembers a lot of the good times with you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely had some good times. And he had good coaches at Casa Grande for sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Everyone put part of that progress. Yep. No, that's awesome. So softball, that's what you like about the game of softball. Who first kind of exposed you, got you into some really competitive softball?
I knew that question was coming, man, so I was ready. Ready.
Got to think them out.
So when I got done playing college ball, I started coaching high school baseball right away, and my first job was James Logan High School. I knew about slow pitch softball, but I didn't really think too much about it. I didn't know much about it. So I wanted to make some extra cash, and I was umpiring in Fremont. I was making some decent side cash, doing some tournaments here and there. Okay. And I did this tournament one time, and I was like, man, these guys can play. This is a good level of ball right here. And one of the guys that was playing in the tournament, his name was Bobby Simmons. Oh. Or Bobby Timmons. I get the two mixed up. There's Bobby Simmons and Bobby Timmons. They're both from Fremont. They both played for Pray for Rain at one point or another. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he said, hey, Sean, he remembered me from Little League growing up in Fremont. And he's like, would you want to play some softball? I'm like, hell yeah, if it's like this. Yeah, I want to play this. This looks like fun. A couple of weeks later, a guy named Hillbilly, Glenn Spivey, picked me up at my house.
That's
first time I ever met him.
That's a name, Glenn Spivey, man. He moved out to Idaho, right?
Yep.
He did kind of, I think, help C-Town when they had their D team and C team and stuff. But that's an old name. And what team was that? Spivey just brought you out to a tournament, or?
Yeah, he picked me up in Fremont. We drove out to Livermore for the Realities tournament in Livermore. And I played with Pray for Rain for the first time. And it was my very first softball tournament ever. And I was absolutely blown away after the tournament. They were throwing me hats and shirts and patches and all this stuff. I got MVP of their very first tournament I played in. And I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm going to get this every weekend. And after that first weekend, I was like 20 for 22 or something like that. Made all these diving catches. I didn't hit good for another softball tournament for another month or two. I thought it was going to be easy, but it took a little while to figure out how to hit slow pitch. But yeah, that first tournament I'll never forget. Glenn Spivey and I had an absolute blast. I met Pat Boring, the sponsor for Pray for Rain. Just really good times. I saw a guy from high school out there. I remember my first softball tournament. Guy says, Bigley. And I turned around and it was Robert Ritchie. I'm like, oh shit. I went to high school with him. I didn't know he was playing softball. So it was really cool. And from that point on, man, I fell in love with it. Fell in love with it. Yeah,
no, that was great. So it was Pray for Rain. And then, obviously, how did you get yourself to become a hitter? Because you played baseball and you used to swing in baseball. So, as I shared, Sean, what makes a phenomenal athlete, he was born with only one full arm. But when it came to hitting,
that one arm's pretty big.
DRI right there.
That one arm's pretty big.
That's right.
The other arm looks like this. I started with the right elbow on the knob, did my rhythm, but when I came through, it was all right here. That's where I wanted to be, top hand, elbow to the belly button, lock it out, square it up. How I got to be a decent hitter was a lot of fucking hard work. A lot of hard work. And I was blessed to have a dad that was a really good athlete. And he was able to put the work in with me. I was blessed to have a little brother that was awesome athlete too, and he wanted to put in the work. So there was the three amigos, man. We were all over the city of Fremont, every baseball field around. The Bigley boys were out there working on our game, and we weren't just fucking around playing pickle and shit. We were working on stuff, man. We were working on stuff.
Dad's giving you crunches and push-ups and laps.
Yeah.
This ain't no family. That is awesome because growing up it'd be hard to get a couple of people as competitive as yourself to do that, but to have your brother and dad do that, man, that is a blessing.
Here's a cool story about my pops.
All right.
My dad was a righty, but I guess one year when he was growing up, he broke his right arm and he taught himself how to throw lefty. So at this point, I'm in high school, and I realized I had a game where I had a hard time hitting a left-handed curveball because I just really never saw it before. And my dad said, I could throw you left-handed curveballs. I'm like, settle down, Dad. Come on, you're a righty. And it took him about 10 minutes. He got it dialed in. He was throwing me left-handed curveballs. And the next time I saw a lefty and he threw me a curveball, I drilled it into left field for a base hit. So, I mean, that was the kind of stuff I had. Like, my dad taught my brother and I that if you want something, you put in the time and the effort and the passion and the work. And if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But at least you gave it all.
Yeah.
You know, and usually it did happen for us because we put in the work and we had some pretty good athletic genes. My dad was a pretty good athlete himself. So
well, that's kind of like my little one-liner that I developed. It's called when you practice, it gets easier. Same idea. But going back, another thing besides you guys being athletes, and I think a big key that he shared is the mental side. Him, Rhino, never had as many conversations with your dad, but I've always enjoyed talking to you, Rhino, because we have these intellectual, deep conversations. But that's one thing you implement in the game, and I think that's a big part how you adjust to learn to overcome to become as successful as you can be. Yeah,
I think that's a great point because
between the years, I always say that. Sorry.
Absolutely, an advantage that I wanted to take full advantage of. So I studied and I studied film. I studied Major League Baseball players, their mechanics. I studied coaches. I read coaching books. I was always watching. And listening. You know, when I was in college, if I was in the dugout, I was listening to what the coaches were saying, man, because I had great coaches. I took it all in. So one of the things that helped me, and this might sound corny, but it's true. I'm from Boston. I grew up a big Boston fan, every sport. Larry Bird and Jim Rice were my two legends, idols. Well, Larry Bird taught me something. He's one of the best NBA players of all time, but he couldn't run fast. He couldn't jump high. How did he do it? Well, because he dominated the mental aspect of the game. He knew everything. He knew your weaknesses. He knew where everyone was at any single point in the game. He knew everything there was to know about basketball. So I tried to do that. I figured, I'm playing with 5 fingers down, one hand less than everyone else, and I'm not a very big guy. So I need to be as strong as possible, and I need to be as smart as possible, because I'm not going to be able to rely on, just raw talent alone, size alone, or whatever, only having the one hand. I'm going to have to figure out how to do it. And I had the passion to want to not just be decent or not just want to make the team, but I wanted to shine. And I loved the challenge. And I think that's what it is, man, just the challenge.
You're a ball player. To be competitive, man, to challenge yourself to that point. I think you've always done that to overcome. Nobody's gonna tell me I can't do it. And that is the mental aspect to overcome and to defeat.
Even other sports, man. Like I remember going to open gym basketball, and I'm like, I'll guard that guy that's 6'4", 260. I'm gonna try to bang him around and see what's up. Or MMA open gym, the heavyweight. Nobody can spar with the heavyweight. I will. I'll see what it feels like.
I used to always want to. I remember just in JUCO when I started playing college, and this guy throws 80 and 90, and I go, I want to bat against those guys, man. I wanted to see what it looked like and stuff.
Yeah. When I first started playing softball, it was at the D level, right? Pray for rain, and I saw the upper teams playing, and I was like, that's where I want to play. Those guys are good. I really want to learn this game and play against those guys or with those guys.
So who got you into that first one?
The first upper level.
Was it with Doc Miller's?
It was Cadillac Ranch, O'Connell Volvo, and I want to say it was like 97. Shit, maybe even earlier than that. Probably 95. Probably 95 or 96. And they were playing in a regional in Reno. Tons of teams, and Johnny Hasna, an old school Dan Smith shortstop, and Mike Clary, and Pierre, and Garrett Sullivan, and Joe Marsh, all those guys picked me up from Fremont. They saw, that I was
hold
playing.
on. Those of you who follow Major Softball, when they used to have Laser Vision, that's who Pierre used to sponsor, and he came up with the name Laser Vision because he was an eye surgeon, right? Yeah. That's Pierre. That's who he's talking about, just to fill in at least those names,
Yeah, and Johnny Hasna is known as Cowboy, one of the better players around in his day. Joe Marsh and Sully, phenomenal players that I looked up to for sure my first couple of years of softball. But they brought me out, and that was my first taste of big-time softball. There were some phenomenal teams out there. And, my eyes were open, and I wanted to learn the game, and I wanted to challenge myself and compete, but I also wanted to learn the game because I knew I was new to it.
I mean, you saying Cadillac Ranch is That's it. That's it. I remember you guys. It was a white T-shirt. I think it was the logo, just Cadillac Ranch and handwriting.
Yep.
But that's when I first saw Sully, because I just remember Sully, and he pulled everything hard then. So I was always ready for him. But Cadillac Ranch,
Tommy
man.
T.
Tommy T's, holy cow, man. There's some more old things. So Doc Miller. Okay, so then when you were talking about T-Lang. T-Lang brought you with Doc Miller.
No,
What was the story you had with T-Lang?
I just met T-Lang while we played for Doc Miller's, and it was kind of cool seeing the show last night because you brought up Glovesman.
Yeah.
The Gloveman, and that was one of the things that stood out. When T-Lang was one of the first guys that I saw in softball that could play the outfield and infield very well at a high level. I mean, obviously you saw guys do both, and I was still new, coming up and seeing how the softball game was played. But T-Lang was the first guy that I remember picking it at short and had hands in the outfield, good routes, good arm. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Definitely.
And then tell me, if you didn't know Sean, once again, those you know, I'm talking with Sean Bigley here. Also go buy some of those raffle numbers that I have for a Mike and Bat. But anyways, I'm just saying it because I'm seeing different people coming in and out. But one thing made Sean Bigley very phenomenal. He was only born with one arm, his left arm. But for 2 years, you were an Easton player, right? You got Easton equipment and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can qualify me as an Easton player, but there was a sponsor that saw me play in Lancaster.
What team was that?
Doc Miller's.
Okay, Doc Miller's.
And we played an Easton team, and I was 4 for 4 with 2 doubles, a home run, and a single. And after the game, I think his name was Marty Orozco, the rep down there, the Easton rep, SoCal. He came up to me and my dad, and we started talking. Hey, I noticed you're one of the only guys that used Easton. I said, yeah, I've used Easton my whole life. I even used it when I played ice hockey. My stick was Easton. And from that point on, he asked me for my address, and he mailed me, the bat size and everything. That it was the blue and black connection, the first.
Yeah.
I
remember that.
That bat. Oh man, that bat was nails.
Yeah.
Loved that bat. And
for some reason, I thought it was remember the power contour? You swing the blue one, did you? Remember that Easton? That's what's kind of the first kind of Easton.
EA 70 plus is what I swung.
Oh, I remember that blue with the
blue and yellow,
silver
and
barrel.
Yeah.
No, but do you remember after I did the power? I think it was a power contour. There was a red one and a blue one.
Yeah.
I was like mid '90s, I think.
Yeah.
But then I remember that connection. That connection was an animal of a bat. That was probably the best double wall bat Easton made at that time.
It was a 2-piece. It wasn't a double barrel. It was a 2-piece.
Okay.
But yeah, it was my favorite bat, and I used that bat because I liked it so much. When the composite started coming out, I was like, I don't need the composite. This bat is just everything I need right here. This bat is solid. It's a huge sweet spot. It's super hot. It's balanced perfect for how I like to swing it. I mean, the weight was awesome. So I stayed with that bat for a long time. I didn't start swinging the composites until I started pitching full time, and I needed something a little bit easier because pitching U-Trip was a killer workout, man.
Yeah.
I was a little bit more tired in the box.
Yeah, no, I bet you would go out there and work because I mean anything you played, you always use your mind. You could tell you're out there thinking whether it's time pumping, and it was always a different batter, different approach, and everything in that nature. But once again, playing baseball or softball, share some experience. I mean, I'm assuming, and like I said, I challenged you, and obviously we lost. Like, hey, come on in when he was up and you burned us. But do you have any like strong challenges, that you can recall playing that got under your skin? And I want to show you what I can do.
In college, I was playing against San Jose City College in the Sac City tournament, and there was a runner at third, and the catcher, I pitched the ball, the catcher threw it back to me, and the runner broke for home because they didn't think I could catch the ball, take the glove off, and throw it fast enough. So they tested me on that. And it was an easy out. The guy was out by like 10 feet. And so that was one that was like I was so young, so my head went right to like, what the fuck you think I'm doing out here? Like, come on, man. You think it's a circus out here? No, I mean, that's an easy out. And but in softball, there was tons of times where I'd come up and people would say, come on in, if they'd never seen me play before. And in my younger days, I probably screwed myself out of some at-bats because I was trying to hit the ball a mile just to show them, my ego got in the way. But there were a lot of times where I hit the ball, really well too, and standing on third base going, what's up?
Yeah, and the cool thing about that, man, like playing with Sean or watching Sean, and it was like you're just seeing sharks, and they're baiting this guy. I mean, that's what it is. It's like he's the shark, oh, you don't think I can burn you? And there's the red flesh of meat. And everyone's just quiet, waiting for it to happen. They don't know, Sean, oh, here it comes. Boom, boom. And you had a little ooh at times, right?
There was when I started getting a little bit more confident in my softball swing, for sure. You know, there's that very first tournament, that B regional in Reno. I was 4 for 4 on the Saturday night game, and we were lighting up. We had like 30 runs on the board or so, and I was 4 for 4 hitting singles everywhere, right? Because I took a lot of BP and I worked on accuracy hitting too.
Yeah.
Well, I was 4 for 4 all singles, and my 5th at bat, they were like, "Come in, 5 infielders, let's try to get this guy out," you know, and Johnny and Garrett and Joe Marsh and Pierre, all those guys that brought me on, they're like, "Sean, just hit a bomb. Let them know you can."
I've heard that before.
And I'm like, it's going to be an out. I don't want to make it out. And they're like, dude, we're up like 13, 14 runs. Just hit a bomb. And so I'm like, all right, I'll try. And I got a good pitch, and I drove it over the trees, and I hit a home run and just started walking out to the outfield because it was the 3rd out. And these guys walking off the field were like, holy shit. They couldn't believe that I had that much bat speed with just the one hand generating it. But, you know, it wasn't the top hand generating the bat speed. It was definitely the core and the hips.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing about when you can think yourself. I've always told people, you can make, like golf, I think you can make yourself a pretty good golf player. And I think you can make yourself a good softball player, hitter, if you put the work and figure out how your body works to hit the ball.
And put in the right work. You have to put in the right work, too. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Another one challenge. This was back in Michigan, and I was telling Sean, we played together with bullies, and we were playing at ASA in Michigan. I don't remember if it was the B1 or the C1, but he was on the bump, and we're playing teams. I think it was from Toledo.
I think they were from Toledo. Is that how I tell the story? Yeah.
Yeah. He came in, and right away they challenged him, man, blowing box hard at him, and no mercy. And you tell it, man.
Yeah, so the way I tell this story quite a bit, I mean, it was a pretty cool...
Anybody who was on bullies saw it, man.
Pretty cool experience for me, because after the game, the umpire said, holy shit, you put on a show. I've never seen anything like that before, and I had the best seat. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this team was big. They had a couple of hockey players that you could tell, the slap shots that just hit absolute missiles. And one of the guys, if you remember, when he hit a home run, he'd say, Yahtzee! So there was one inning where I think it was the 3, 4, and 5 hitters came up, and they absolutely, all 3 of them just blasted middle, and none of them were right at me. They were all like out of the reach. And you said earlier you thought
partial dive. It was like
kind of
you went out, and then I saw you go down, and that was the last. Yeah.
But the 3rd out, I caught on my backhand like this. And I flipped the ball up and I started juggling it like a hacky sack, and then I just kicked it to the dugout, and that didn't go over very well. They got pissed off. But their big guy that was like a bodybuilder, I mean, this guy was massive. Mm-hmm. He came at me his first 3 at bats. He came at me, and I snatched him off. It was a line drive every time. And his 3rd at bat, he got so pissed off he broke his bat in the dugout, got kicked out of the game. And I think I yelled at him, "Why don't you go home and kick your dog now, roid rage?" I thought he was going to stuff me in a garbage can after the game when we were clapping hands, but that shit was funny, yeah. But the compliment after the game by the umpire, he said he had the best seat and he's never seen a show like that. I mean, that was pretty cool. And it was one of those nights that, everything fell into place. I felt good. Everything was in rhythm, because when you're pitching and you have to square up and you have to have rhythm and get squared up, or if your feet aren't lined up with you, you're going to be moving back while the ball's blowing by you. You got to stop, and line it up almost like a hockey goalie. And that night was a lot of fun.
I think when you were in the outfield, you used to bait guys to run on you. I mean, this cat-like reflexes he had. But I mean, even seeing how you would, you catch the ball and switch over and
an extra shuffle to see if they want to go.
Oh yeah.
An extra shuffle or two.
No, I mean, I'm talking about that, getting challenged running the bases. Anyone kind of dog it and say, oh, okay, let's do it, or cat and mouse? I mean, you have any?
Yeah, definitely.
Anything you remember on those?
Definitely had a lot of that. Like especially early days when we go play out of state, playing left field. That's what I played early on. And if there was a ground ball through the 6th hole, I mean, guys would I saw them tear an ass out of the box, and I'm like, oh, he's not going to stop at first. So I would just get to the ball quick, make that transfer, and just throw a laser into second and see what happens. But yeah, there was guys that just didn't think I'd be able to do that glove transfer. And that came from hard work again. We're going to go back to the beginning. My dad, when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, my dad would come home from work every night, and we'd get our gloves, go outside, and we'd play quick catch. I'd catch the ball, throw it to him. He'd catch it and throw it back to me as fast as possible. and we'd go back and forth until somebody messed up. And we did that wherever we went. Ryan joined us. We started going to the beach. We'd go to Santa Cruz Boardwalk. We'd bring the gloves, play quick catch, you know. So it's repetition created some confidence, and then confidence allowed me to keep growing because I knew it worked.
Yeah.
I think that's what the main thing was here. I mean, you put in the time, you get a little bit of confidence, and then you're like, oh, I can do this. Oh, it's working. Okay, let's continue putting in the hard work, and then it just kept going.
Repetitions give confidence. That's what I always say. I mean, when you were taking BP, I mean, it's the same thing. And we're talking, the theme right now, repetitions is confidence. I know for myself as a hitter, you know, if you're thinking, say, pull the ball and the guy's going right side, I've taken enough work and repetitions that you may not see me go right side a lot, but I have to say, I'm about a 900 hitter. Sorry, I'm not trying to be cocky, but most people, they pitch me this way, and that's fine. But anytime I get the outside to see if I can do it, it's easy. A lot of times they give me a big 3-4 hole or whatever. But when you were playing a lot of the ball you were playing, what was your BP focus sometimes? Anything you would kind of go into it?
Absolutely. I had a routine, and it kind of came from my baseball days. The first part of my BP, I'd be slapping the other way, letting the ball come deep in the hitting zone, just staying back and slapping it the other way. And then I would start probably doing some middle in slow pitch. I would do some middle, and then we would probably line up the cones. This is one of the important things too, and I'm not sure because I've been out of the game for a while. I'm not sure if it happens too much anymore, especially because the bats are so good. Do people put in the hard work? Like, do they align themselves with good hitters? Like, I wanted to go hit with good hitters.
Yeah.
Because every session you're going to pick something up. I remember one of my early BP guys was Chris Alvarado. He and I used to go hit. Mark Gutierrez, he and I had some awesome hitting, and obviously my brother and I too, because we were like 1-2 punch right there. Like we were always working on our game. But I remember seeing guys, I'd go hit with them, and they would say, oh, you know what? I've never done that in my BP session. That's a good idea. Like, I remember, I can't remember who it was, but they put a garbage can out the left field line, and they were a lefty, and they were just trying to hit pop-ups into the garbage can.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool, so I brought that into my game because I started working on that. I remember there was a good period there where being able to blow middle the right way, not right back at the pitcher,
Right.
but split the second baseman or the 5-man and pitcher and whatever side the 5-man's on, just smoking one hoppers through those infield holes, not even worrying about the outfield yet. I mean, that was the first part of our BP was smoking one hoppers through the infield holes. And then, the very end, you see how far you could hit it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't something we really worked on. We worked on everything else. Because in slow pitch, you got to be able to hit the ball to every part of the field, no matter what pitch it is, really.
Right. Steve Gonzalez says, first time I saw Sean pitching for Triple J's, he snapped someone and my mind was blown. Then I seen him hit an Oppo bomb. Absolute legend. Yeah, he is. Thanks, Steve Gonzalez. Hey, your brother Rhino says, greatest catch and throw play I've ever seen was Sean at Pal Stadium in front of the San Jose Merchants? Or is it Mercury? Oh, San Jose Mercury.
Yeah.
Right on. Tell us about that. They were just out there. Did you get a lot of media attention when you were younger?
I did. I was on the news, like the local Channel 2 news.
High school?
Even before that, it was Little League days. If I made an all-star team, it was a pretty big deal, And the really cool one, though, was San Jose Mercury, the one Ryan's talking about. The San Jose Mercury came to my bedroom to interview me. They came to my house, and they came up to my bedroom, and they saw my shoebox of baseball cards, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the first 100 cards were all Red Sox players, and the first 30 were all Jim Rice. And he wrote that.
Jim Rice,
yeah,
man.
Jim Rice. That's why I was always number 14, man.
Yeah.
So Jim Rice, there was part of the article where it said Jim Rice is his favorite player, or something like that. Well, I was able to go into the Oakland A's dugout, or the Red Sox dugout when they played the Oakland A's.
And you met Kevin McHale. I'm fucking jealous.
Yeah.
But anyways,
my dad worked with a guy that also took pictures for Sports Illustrated. That's how we got that hookup. But we went into the dugout, and Jim Rice signed the article right where it said Jim Rice is his favorite player, and all the Red Sox signed it that year. And Ted Williams was the hitting coach that year. I mean, it was an awesome experience. But the coolest thing about this interview was Ryan I was like 8 or 9, and Ryan was way younger, right? Like 3.5, 4 years younger. So he's just a little kid. And they asked Ryan, "What do you think about all this, Ryan?" And he says, "I wish I was born without my right hand so I could be as good as him." It was epic. That was like a Bigley story for forever. I mean, we talked about that forever, so it was good stuff.
Yeah, that's. I'm just jealous of that because in Hollister, I became a Cowboy fan because I played Pop Warner and I was on the Hollister Cowboys. I was 54, so my favorite player was Randy White. And then I was on the Red Sox when you get to the majors in Little League, and I was on the Red Sox. And I'm sure you know this one, but my favorite player was Carl Yastrzemski.
Yeah.
Because I got this number because my cousin Louis was 7. I had a choice between 5 and 8. And for some reason, 5 always found my way. I don't know if the numbers, they went probably by size. But anyways, my cousins, I'll get 8 because I'm 7. We can go 7-8. So I was a Boston fan and Carl Yastrzemski. And as I followed Boston, Jim Rice, when I used to play wiffle ball, I used to go right-handed Jim Rice, left-handed Eddie Murray. Nice. That was the guy that I liked. But yeah, I heard that story. So that's how it happened. The picture you and Rhino have with Kevin McHale, is that in Oakland?
Yeah, that's at the Warriors Stadium there in Oakland Coliseum. Ryan says it was 86. I think it was 88 or so. I don't know. We had not an argument, but we didn't agree on what date it was. But it's somewhere in high school. I had pegged pants, so I was trying to save my ass.
Oh, pegged. Huh?
Yeah.
And what is it, the members only jacket? Yeah, that thing going too?
I had the boys club boxing jacket on that night, yeah.
So you and Rhino, as competitive as you both are, share some competitiveness in the house. If it was in baseball, could it be anything? Card collecting, freaking Atari.
I'll say this: we were competitive, but because I was 3.5, 4 years older, it wasn't an even playing field when we played one-on-one basketball, one-on-one anything, and we played one-on-one everything. And we just had a conversation recently about this because I talk to Rhino almost every day. Everything we did as brothers, because we were so close. Everything we did, we were doing it for fun at the time, even though we knew it was going to make us better. But we were developing skills all along the way. These little stupid games that we played in the backyard, one-on-one baseball with like this little soccer ball that you could snap curveballs with. And, everything we did, we played basketball one-on-one. We would go to the tennis courts and play soccer. You had to use your feet and knees and head to get the soccer ball over the net, we were just creative because we always wanted to be busy and we always wanted to be playing some type of game because we were competitive,
I bet you guys had some crazy wiffle ball games, man.
Crazy wiffle ball games. And not even wiffle ball. Sometimes we rolled up aluminum foil with the tape so the ball would move like ridiculous. And you get that little garage door strike zone.
Yeah. No, we used to do, me and my buddy, when we got tired of getting wiffle balls, then we implemented socks with the freaking electrical tape, and that's how we had our things. But man, I can imagine those wiffle ball days. Now, did you have your own modified personal bat or anything like that, like everyone else did?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, absolutely. We would tape stuff up, and it was just, our backyard was set up perfect for it too. We had a really big backyard. That was, first base was the post for the basketball pole. Second base was here at third, and then we even had a home run fence. If you hit it out to the street, it was pretty cool.
Did you have crazy rules too? We used to have it like you could catch a wiffle ball off the tree and you're out, catch it off the wall. It was like indoor.
Only like kids can, man, right? Like kids.
And then our strike zone, where we used to in my backyard, we just had a tree stump. So the stump was there, and if you hit the stump above a piece of tape, that was a strike. So that was just what we aimed for. It was just crazy. But name some of the teams you played with and what level they were or whatever.
So in softball, I started with actually, I think Pray for Rain was my first softball tournament ever, but I didn't know about signing rosters and that kind of thing, so I got affiliated with Sting and U. You remember Sting and U?
I do remember that.
They were a Triple Crown team, and I played Triple Crown with Sting and U. Even though I really wanted to stay with Pray for Rain, but I signed the roster, and so I was trying to play with both teams, and doing that thing and just checking it out. And Pray for Rain ended up winning Steamboat Springs, Triple Crown, Worlds in '95. Hillbilly, Mark Gutierrez, all those guys were on the team. Tony Scarlata, who else? Joe Marsh.
Was Walt on that team yet?
Scott Kenyatta, no. Walt was...
What about Hack? I remember Hack. I was playing with Hack and he went over to Pray for Rain at one time.
No.
Well, that was probably the early first Pray for Rain. Huh?
Yeah.
And then after Pray for Rain, then where'd you go?
I want to say... after Pray for Rain, I went to play with Fremont Express.
Yeah.
With Randy and Glenn. Me and Glenn were like the package deal there for a few years. You know, I loved playing next. I played left. He played left center. So we were all always chopping it up. And
yeah. Oh wait. So Steve Gonzalez. Well, I want to get the list of who you played because he's played some pretty well-known tunes, and he's played with pretty much a lot of the best players. You know, he's primarily playing a lot more b-ball and higher than anything else. But Steve Gonzalez says, also when I started hanging out with Gutierrez, we were talking about Sean's game, and Mark says he could also kick your ass. He's a legit. Yeah, I would say he's got a good, left fucking stroke. I don't know if we're gonna talk about that one here. Gotta go there, huh, Steve-O? Being the Mexican, la Chicano tu es, huh? Gotta bring that one up, man. Oh, you ever not getting one out of Twin Creeks? Can you say that?
Probably, man. I mean, no matter where I went, somebody was always trying to start some shit. So that right elbow was my favorite strike.
Oh. Yeah. So people used to just talk shit? I mean, would you have people just out of the blue just, I mean, I was never, I might have heard at the time, but I was never around it.
There were two teams that were absolutely blatantly disrespectful, and it got to a point, because my dad used to go to all our tournaments.
Yeah.
My dad was a big motherfucker that you didn't want to mess with, especially in my early days of softball when my dad was still fairly young. This dude came out, Team Rampage was the team, and he was doing this.
Oh, wow.
And my dad was about to rip the dude's head off, man. And me and Tim Robertson and Mark Gutierrez and all the guys from Pray for Rain said, Pops, we got it. And we almost got in a brawl. We ended up not getting into a brawl, but I had something like that happen with, you know what, I'm not going to say the team name because later on in the years, they made good and they were super cool about it. It was, I think it was more of just a competitive thing, and they were good guys, but we were young. But later on in softball, like when we were in our mid-30s,
you matured,
those dudes came up.
Yeah.
They didn't say sorry about what took place, but they were hella cool from that day on. So I'm not going to name them. But yeah, man, my dad was a boxer, and he knew I was probably going to get teased a little bit, and he knew I didn't, or he didn't want me to have to take it. So he taught me how to deal with it. So that I think that's what Gonzo's talking about, yeah, or Mark Gutierrez is talking about. Because Mark and I got into a few scraps with some people, And Mark could fight too. He had a Muay Thai background, so yeah, it was good times, man. Unfortunately, I think I liked fighting a little too much. It was just kind of a hobby, but
I could say I thought you were known to all right, let's have some fun. I think who was that guy who sang Saturday Nights at Rifle Park? Elton John.
Yeah.
I guess Elton John was playing in the background every now and then after hoisting a couple of the old creeks or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I heard about a couple here and there or whatever. I don't know. So
after Fremont Express, which was a phenomenal team,
yeah.
that team fucking raked, dude.
Yeah.
And we were a C team, but we were beating B and A teams. I mean, it was.
Well, remember, it was that team that, and they said go ahead and get bumped up.
Yeah.
And you guys opted to do it.
Yeah. Back in the day, we wanted to play against the best, and I remember the guy that helped run the team was Randy Rowling. He pulled us all aside and said, hey, because we're winning everything in C, they're giving us the chance to move up, or we could stay in C or something like that. And we're like, let's move up and let's go play against some A and B teams. And the very first weekend we did was in Martinez, and I think we beat Sportsman, which was a B team at the time.
Sportsman.
We beat them in the finals or the Warlords or something like that. I don't know. I know we won it. And I after that I ended up playing with Dan Smith for a little bit. Their B team. And then because of knee surgeries and things like that, I played with Cuervo mixed in there somewhere. I played with Cuervo with Mark Tremaine.
Yeah.
Drift. Are you on?
I'm sure he is.
Mark Tremaine.
Well, I've had a Cuervo the last couple weeks. I had Tremaine, I had freaking Shaggy, I had Ron, Sean, shit. I'll be seeing Rhino in a couple weeks, having dinner Thursday, remember, Rhino.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, Thursday, but he doesn't, well, yeah. But anyways, yeah, with the
Cuervo was cool. A lot of good athletes, a lot of really good softball players.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Freddie Mac on here because he lives in Hollis.
I just ran into Freddie Mac this last high school basketball season.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right, huh?
I ran to a basketball game and saw him. Yeah, you got to get Freddie on here. That'd be a good one. I do want to say something, though, about, remember earlier when I said I was always watching and trying to learn softball? Yeah. There's two things that really helped me develop and learn the game of softball, because there's a minor tweak. Baseball and softball are obviously you're swinging a bat at a ball, but they are different. And I was able to see a really good B team when I was first starting out and playing at the Creeks every night of the week. I'd get off work at 3Com, shoot across 237, and I wanted to be there all the time because I loved it. And that was the guys from the Tribe. I got to see the Tribe play, and a lot of the guys on that team were lefties that ran well. And I remember what I learned from them was the first 2 or 3 guys of every inning hit ground balls to get on base, and then they started hitting gappers and home runs, and that meant something to me. Like that was their strategy. 6-hole, whatever, on the ground, lefties out of the box. And the other team was Sunnyvale Valve when they won B States at the Creeks. My team was out of it Saturday night. I went back Sunday and watched them play, and they just rolled and rolled and rolled. And there was a play, one of the best softball plays I've ever seen, was Tommy Dodd in center field.
Tommy Dodd's names came up a lot.
He was a stud. I got to play with him on Doc Miller's for a little bit. Little dude, like in stature, like not very tall, but absolutely yacked the ball. I mean, just strong as hell.
Just quick pull.
Yeah.
I remember Tommy Dodd.
Just bat speed, cut the ball, kind of like Mark Tremaine. He knew how to cut the ball. But there was a runner at, was there a runner at second? Yeah, there was a runner at second, and this dude it was field 2 at the Creeks. This ball was killed to center. It was a line drive going to hit off the fence, and Tommy Dodd ran it down and snatched it and stopped on a dime and turned and threw a rod straight line to second base. And I was leaning back in the bleachers like this, and I sat up because I saw it starting to happen. Andy Purcell snuck in. The shortstop and second baseman were out. Gary Martin was out. Chris Lasaka was out. And I was like, holy shit, Andy's going to come in back door. And the dude had gone to third. He didn't tag. He was coming back. And Andy Purcell came in back door and fucking got him out. It was just, I jumped off the bleachers. I was like, that was sick. So and then watching them roll the rest of the day and how that was back when you had to name the home run hitter.
Oh, yeah.
Remember before the game?
Yeah.
These are 3 home run hitters.
Yeah.
So stupid. Like, why would you pitch to them anymore?
Right. Well, the game has evolved since
Definitely
then.
has. Yeah. They had a big catcher. The Derek Williams played with them that weekend, too, I believe.
The Tribe?
No, Sunnyvale Valve.
Oh,
Sunnyvale Valve ended up winning
okay.
B States that weekend.
Oh, okay.
But,
well, the thing I'd like to say about Tribe, like, when you think about all the other teams then, I mean, Tribe just played the game so fundamentally well, and they were all competitive. And the thing that I liked about the Tribe, it wasn't like a team of superstars.
Correct.
They had their big name guys and their guys who did their damage, or the well-known guys, but they had guys that everyone plugged in. And one guy would love to talk to, Santiago, Mike, man. Remember that little bastard?
He was a little fire
He
plug.
was, yeah.
Intensity, definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people did not like to play against that guy.
And that's a compliment, right?
Yeah, I look at it that way, right?
Yeah, if they don't like to play against you, then you're doing something right.
Yeah,
and then in a backyard, or they get to play against you, with you, and they're like, hey, you're not so bad. You're a cool guy.
I like Santiago, man. I guess I got more exposed in playing with him more than anything else, and I like the way. I mean, he, if you weren't doing it also, and not necessarily not having a great day tournament wise, but he was the kind of guy to push. Hey, man, we hustle here and we dive, and that's what I always liked about Santiago, man. So, Cuervo, who else was there? I know you mentioned, I don't know, did Silva's
Lionel Ortiz was playing with us. Nick pitched.
Yeah.
Rhino was on the team. Tim Robertson was on the team. Mark Tremaine was on the team.
Wait. Here, okay, wait. It says, Todd Langdon said, I wasn't nice to Sean because he was a lefty. I was nice to him because I knew he could scrap. That's Todd Langdon said. Augie says, I talk to Freddie Mac all the time. I asked him. I wanted to do a show from his house one time. And I even wanted to do it at his house when I was going to interview Tremaine. So you let your boy know. Tremaine says, Drifter. Gogs is on. Timmy Williams on. What's up, Timmy? Yeah.
From Bullies, right?
Yeah. And then Cuervo. Okay, after Cuervo, then what did you play after Cuervo? No, is that?
I took some time off because of my knee surgery after Cuervo.
Was that when you went to pitching? Was after you hurt yourself?
I played a couple more years in left field, but then I started pitching more and more. And then that's right. When I came back, I went to Triple J's. And that's when I became full-time pitcher with Triple J's.
Were you kind of messing pitching when you first started playing, or was it more after you got injured?
I always was I always wanted to come in and pitch. Like if somebody needed a break, or if somebody was getting shelled, or if they lost it, I would always come in from left field to pitch. I always wanted to. And I think I even pitched a couple innings that first tournament that the Cadillac Ranch brought me to in Reno. They had me pitch a couple innings to give either Tim Reed or Mike Clary a break. I can't remember who it was. I don't even know if Mike Clary was on that team that year. I know he played with them, but anyway, yeah. But then when it came time to when the bats became really, really hot, and my knee was getting worse and worse and worse, and I couldn't sprint in the outfield, I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to be a pitcher. Oh, I forgot about a team, EDS. Remember EDS from Sacramento?
You played with them out south?
Yeah, my brother and I both played with them one year.
Were you with the chosen one that year? That's what they're calling JBI. The chosen one. Rob, I love that name.
No,
dude.
he wasn't on the team. He was with. I think he played with Garlic World back then. I don't know.
Oh, so you were before him then.
So anyway, when I decided to become a full-time pitcher because people didn't want to pitch anymore, and like I said, I like challenges. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be better for my knee not to be running around the outfield. So I'm going to just make myself a pitcher. So I started working out as a jumping rope, doing all kinds of agility exercises. My glove transfer was, that was dialed in from, I had the same glove from my 13-year-old year all the way through college, all the way through softball. I still have it today. I had it restrung many times because I didn't want to have to learn another glove because that glove was like an extension of my body. It came on and off so freaking fast. I didn't want to ever have to learn how to do another glove, right? So that part of it was easy. When I pitched, my arm was up here. I had a little bit of time because it was slow pitch. I'd come baseball, I'd let go, and it was on a little bit quicker because the release is down here. But slow pitch, the ball's got a little bit of an arc on it, and you can get your footwork going. So I lost a lot of weight. I got down to like 175, 180, and I was like, I'm going to be the quickest pitcher they have in softball. That was like every time I went to the gym, I'm doing my workouts, consider speed bag. I was hitting the speed bag for hand-eye coordination, hand speed, jumping rope, and I realized I was gloving middle pretty good. I was closing middle pretty good, so that was a pitcher for the rest of my career. And then the game changer, that weekend I was your roommate in Seattle. I dislocated. Bullies, I was going from first to third, and I did a hook slide into third. I saw the third baseman's eyes get big. I knew the ball was coming. He was blocking the base. To this day, I wish I would have just slid into him or knocked him over. But I tried to do a hook slide. In Washington, the infield dirt's kind of wet all the time. You don't really slide. So I stuck. I scorpioned, dislocated my left shoulder, and that was a game changer for me. My shoulder just never was the same after that. And the first time you dislocate a shoulder, though, it hurts incredibly bad, even when it goes back in. Yeah. And my boy right here was my roommate that weekend, and he was literally my right-hand man. he was, like, helping me with my bags and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, good teammate right here.
Yeah. So, Puka, Jason Engelbright says, ask Sean what is his best memory in softball.
My best memory in softball. It's going to be really close, man. It's going to be really close. And one of them is going to be kind of generalized. But one of them is obviously when I won Worlds and I was named to the all-world team and I got called up on stage and they were throwing plaques and, shirts and hats and all that stuff with me. And just seeing the guys on the team, like, just going nuts, acting like little kids and just having just a blast because we won Worlds, The other one is more of a general favorite, and so I started my softball career. Ryan was